Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons with Troy. Well, today I want to talk all about creating moods and kind of movie type soundscapes using the Lapsteel in open D tuning, D, A, D, F sharp, A, D, from your thickest to your thinnest string. And as far as the pedals and effects and all that I'm using, really I'm just using a volume pedal and a reverb type effect with a nice big ambient type reverb. How do you get that? Well, I'm using a Strymon Flint reverb pedal, but whatever reverb you're using, if you want to get this, you want to have a really long decay to the reverb, meaning it has a really long tail that the sound just keeps going, right? So as you swell in, see how it's still going? So that kind of gives it that sound, that real big type sound that you would hear. In particular, the movie that inspired me to do this lesson I watched last night called The Alpinist. It was about this mountain climber, and it had these big, vast shots of mountains and stars, and I could just picture, this type of a sound going on in the background. I'm trying to not make it sound too much like whale sounds. You can definitely get the whale sound thing going on with the volume pedal and the reverb. But trying to think more of like a synthesizer or something, that type of an instrument, but on Lapsteel. And I wanted to talk mostly today, not just about the effects, but about note choice and how certain notes in a particular key can really create certain moods. So let's talk about that. I think you kind of understand the reverb pedal. It's a long decay, pretty loud. Turn the mix up to about around 75%. The decay, make sure it's nice and long. Make sure your type of reverb is as bright as you or dark as you want to kind of get the sound, but you want that long tail to it. So let's talk kind of about some note choice to give you this kind of a sound. We're in the key of D. I'm just going to keep it fairly simple. Stay in the key of D. And you want to start off just by hitting chord tones and seeing how that sounds. For example, if I play the 7th fret, first string, and by the way, let's hit that 6th string just to kind of give us a drone, a low D drone in the background. And then that, just swell your volume pedal like that. Just let that go, and then, right? Well, that's the note A, right? That sounds great. That's the 5th of our scale. We can keep it relatively happy. It's not going to sound super happy with this type of a reverb, but it won't be a minor key, if we hit notes within that major key. So F sharp, major 3rd. And when you want tension, diatonic kind of tension, you can hit notes outside of the chord. For example, having that drone, D is in the D chord, F sharp is in the D chord, A and D, right? D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A up the octave. So what you can do is if you want tension but not too much tension, you can do notes like G and then resolve it to your your next chord tone, either down to that F sharp or G up to A, the 5th, right? Same thing for any notes in between the chord tones. Keeping in mind we got D, F sharp. So we got this E note here, the 2nd. See how that creates certain tension? It's nice just to stay on one string. You could go to your lower strings if you wanted to. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll fall on notes that aren't particularly in that chord. E, the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, the major 7th. and then resolve them, or maybe hit a few notes that aren't in the chord and then resolve it. So it's not just one note and then resolve. You could do 2 or 3 or whatever, make up some sort of melody. The 6th, going to the 3rd, 6th, going to the 5th, the 9th or the 2nd, going to that major 7th, a C sharp. Okay, now the other thing that I did in that sample, at least, you heard me do this. Now what's that? Well, that I'm kind of getting out of that major key, and I'm putting that flat 7 in there, the C chord, but I'm doing a drone on top. I got my bar pulled back here so that I'm hitting the right 10th fret, my 6th string. Then I'll walk that down to 9th fret for that kind of B minor, and then G to D. And what I'm doing is I'm swelling on notes, so you don't hear me hit the note like that. You'll hear the note swell in. But the more chords you play, like that kind of thing, you kind of get away from the wail sounds. Right? Harmonics. But it's nice just to play things slow and kind of see where it takes you, and to have that that movie scene for me, just that Alpinist movie that was on Netflix, have that going on, kind of trying to think about those scenes and picturing me putting music over it. Right, those mountains and those big stars and the snow and cold and all that. And it really helps to kind of help you, I feel like, improvise. And then as far as, like I said, the note choice, sticking within that D major scale and then getting out of it, still within the key, but getting out of it without hitting notes in that chord, but then resolving it to notes within the chord. Or bounce, it's kind of like leapfrog. You can bounce from notes that aren't in the chord, just play only notes that aren't in the chord. G, B, E, C sharp, A. Right, so that's just a good way to kind of get you started. Now what you can do is the mood that kind of all this, I feel like, gives you is, it's not a sad mood. I guess it's kind of sad, because it's slow and there's a lot of reverb, but it's not minor. Let me play you now, instead of F sharp, I'll play you F natural, the note F natural, and you get a whole different kind of mood with that. Okay, so immediately when you hear that F natural versus F sharp, that's a minor third, a flatted third, that changes the tonality of the mood, right? That makes it sound like something maybe dangerous is happening, and then the whatever kind of soundscape you want. That definitely creates more drama, like as it paints a picture as to something's getting ready to happen, maybe. Same thing, you can start taking those chord tones like A, That's very solid when you just play A with that drone D. But what if you flatted that? That's going to give you some dissonance, they call it, some tension. Right? So hitting that A flat, that's the flat 5, that's going to give you a certain amount of dissonance. You could resolve it to an F sharp, the major third, or resolve it to an F natural. And it starts getting real dark then, right? The flat 5 to the flat third. Like that might be something like where a storm's rolling in, or he's in danger or something. The flat 7, it has a certain kind of minor quality to it that sounds kind of cool versus the major 7. So that's C natural there on 10th fret. Now another one note that offers a lot of kind of dissonance is the flat 2. So instead of playing this E there, or E here, right, to D, we play E flat, that's the flat 2. And it really wants to resolve to that root note. Okay, the other one is a flat 6. So instead of B, right, we play B flat. Now, if you think about it, B flat is just a half step away from the 5th, the A note. So you can hear that resolution wanting to happen, that tension, and then release, dissonance, consonance, right? B flat, flat 6 to the 5th. So it just depends on the kind of mood that you want to paint. Are you wanting the major kind of mood that sounds like this? Kind of a happy mood, very optimistic. I picture something like that with the major third, perfect 5th, the root. Like maybe just the beauty of the stars or something, like looking up and you're seeing a clear night sky, vast expanse of the stars, all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm picturing, at least when I'm improvising with this kind of stuff. So if things, let's say in your movie that you're making up, or if you're ever hired to write music for a movie, if it's a scene where things are going good, you want kind of the big, vast sound, but things aren't really going wrong yet in the movie, you can stay within that key. But once things start going wrong, or you want to foreshadow, let's say, something bad happening or getting ready to happen, you start getting out of the key, maybe, the flat 5. You can, however much tension you want to have, that flat 2. The flat 7 sounds real nice. And however much you want to pull, it's kind of like a rubber band, tension and release, The more you play kind of outside the key, the more tension you're building. Well, sometimes you want that tension to not just keep building and building. You want tension, and then you want it to release, and you want to be able to control that and paint kind of a visual picture of whatever you want to, the soundscape, the mood you want to project out there, right? So if you just keep playing dissonance or outside the key, you're just stretching that rubber band, and it doesn't have as much effect as stretching it and then resolving it, right? Like I said too, playing maybe chords. Like here, sounds real nice in the key of D, a C major, with that top string open, going down to B minor, bringing your bar back right to your 6th, 5th, and 4th string, G. Keep going down, F sharp. And just swelling into those notes. Not really, you don't want to really hear the attack of the note, or at least what I'm not wanting to hear. I'm wanting to hear that note kind of just come in, swell into it, as opposed to like that, right? Swelling into that note. Same thing if you play real diatonically, A major, the 5 chord, G major, the 4 chord. That paints a picture of everything's okay, everything's all right. But once you start getting outside the key, playing chords that aren't within that key, like your maybe a B flat major chord. Definitely D minor. The D, what's called a minor major 7th, meaning a D minor chord, meaning you have a F natural in there. But then hitting that C sharp, that's your major 7th. So a minor 3rd with a major 7th has a really interesting sound. And that flat 6 to the flat 7, the 5th, flat 5, flat 3rd to the flat 2. Now we start getting kind of out with it. Sliding harmonics is kind of neat. Now, the other thing, I've been really focused on this first string, right? But if you focus on your lower strings, that has a cool sound too, you know. Your 4th string, let's say. And all those shapes that you learned on your first string can apply to your 4th string. So, you know, your root, major 3rd, 5th, root, and then playing flat 7, same frets as your first string, but you just get that lower kind of sound. Well, I hope you learned something out of that. That's just kind of some fun stuff to work with, and recently I've been really messing with some external pedals like that Strymon Flint reverb pedal. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you on the next lesson. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.